Everybody, I just thought I would quickly draw you what I was talking about earlier with the taxonomy of a grasshopper. It's not, I think it's really interesting. I accept that some of you might find it slightly boring, but bear with me. And also, if you bear with me to the end, I will draw you something very special, and you all know that I'm a spectacularly good artist. Good. Okay, so I can't write. You can see that. I'm virtually unable to write in my own hand other than on a typewriter. I also have completely terrible ability to spell, so I may well misspell most of these things. So I thought we'd look at three animals. We've got grasshopper, leopard, being International Leopard Day, and of course we have a flaky thorn, which is this tree over here. And I thought I would just sort of show you how we as human beings have classified these things. And we've pigeonholed them all very nicely and neatly, and the more we look into their DNA, the more we see that it's not easy to pigeonhole them, and that it's a much more fluid kind of gradation between species. But this is basically how we do it. So if we look at the grasshopper, of course it is in the animal kingdom, right? The leopard is also in the animal kingdom. The flaky thorn, of course, is not. It's in a completely different kingdom. It's in the plants. So we're going to call that a plant. Then the phylum that it belongs to, the grasshopper, belongs to the phylum. Don't forget this, Henry, now. Yes. It's an invertebrate. That means it has no backbone. All right, invertebrate. There we go. The leopard, of course, is a vertebrate. It does have a backbone. Now, there are Latin terms for all of these things, but it's a little bit easier to do it like this. Vertebrate. You see, sorry about this. I don't even think that's how you spell it. And then the phylum for the flaky thorn is not really disclosed. We're not sure exactly, but its class, we'll just write it here first, is angiosperm. Now the point, that means a flowering plant, so I'm just going to put flowers. Now what's cool here is that you can see immediately that although the leopard and the grasshopper belong to the same kingdom, they split very early on into the vertebrates and the invertebrates, so those with a sort of hard exoskeleton and those with an internal skeleton, right? So then we go down to class, and what we found is the grasshopper belongs to the arthropods. And what that means, of course, is that it's jointed. It has a jointed exoskeleton, all right? So now it's left behind other invertebrates, such as the mollusks, for example. Then we go to the leopard, and we find that its class, of course, is the very familiar mammals, right? So it's a mammal. Then we go down to order, and I mentioned this. It was the Orthoptera, The spelling might be completely incorrect. The order of the leopards, Carnivora, the carnivores. Carnivore. If you are a school teacher, you might be wondering why I'm so unable to write. Well, I wondered the same thing. Flaky thorn here, the order it belongs to is the, basically, I think it's called the Fabale. Not very interesting. Then we're going to leave out suborders just to show you that there are gradations between the two. Then the family it belongs to, what was the family? Now that specific grasshopper, I don't know what family it belonged to. I don't know what genus it belonged to, and I don't know what species it belonged to because it isn't in the book. So there are just lots and lots of them that are very difficult to tell. The leopard's much easier, of course. The family it belongs to, of course, is the cats. The Felidae. The genus is Panthera. And the species is Pardus. So the leopard's easy because it's very familiar, and there are not many different kinds of leopards, and so that's quite easy. And we'll just go on to the flaky thorn here quickly. The family it belongs to is the Fabaceae, which is, you don't have to remember all of this, of course. The genus, of course, is Acacia. In fact, it's not anymore. It used to be. It's now Vachellia. Vachellia. And the Acacia exuvialus, yes. The genus is exuvialus. Okay, so that's basically how animals are being classified. And it all started with a chap called Carl Linnaeus, and he started classifying animals basically according to how similarly they looked to each other. This was in the 1700s, and so animals that looked the same, he gave similar sort of classifications to, and it was him that came up with the binomial classification, and that means that by means naming species by their genus and their species. We, Homo genus sapiens, our species. Good. Now, your reward for listening to that load of drivel. Are you ready? It is, of course, as we know, International Leopard Day. And so I thought that I would draw Shongile, my favourite leopard. There she is. I have never drawn her this big before. I feel quite honoured to be drawing her this big. What are you laughing about? Of course, Seb has never seen me draw before, have you, Seb? Is this your first experience of my drawing? You are very lucky indeed. She's got quite sharp claws on front and back feet.
It's like a bear.
It does not look like a bear, it looks like a cat. You may notice the camera is shaking slightly. That is because Seb doesn't think this looks like a leopard. Which of course he's wrong about. It does look like a leopard. And then of course we must do her spot pattern, and I can never remember which side it is. I think she's 3/4 like her mum. And the way I remember of her, of course, is her Cindy Crawford mole that she's got just over there. So, beautiful girl. We'll just give her some claws because she's not to be trifled with. There we go. Beautiful, isn't she? And then, of course, she's kind of got her nice white tip to the tail, bit of stripes here, and then all the spots. No, and I'm not going to draw all the spots because that will take until next week, and this is just a sort of artist's impression. Picasso, if you will. A few lines telling the full story. And then, of course, she has got sort of very brown eyes, and you know how we make brown, don't you, Seb? We make green, and then we cover it in red, if I remember correctly. Yes, there we are. I'm exactly correct. That's what I remember from my nursery school art class when I wasn't outside climbing on a tree, which clearly I was doing much more of than my art class. Everybody, there he is. She just needs quickly one last addition. She just needs to have her princess's crown. Shouldn't be more a tiara, but leopards don't wear tiaras, they wear crowns. Shongile. There you are. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my favourite leopard on World Leopard Day, Shongile the leopard. Good.